Hi, my name is Catalina Moraga. Many of us suffer from wrist strain due to too much keyboarding and texting. Join me for a 10-minute yoga sequence to build resilience in the wrists for a pain-free practice. Come into a child's pose facing the top of your mat with your feet together and your knees wider than your hips. Use your fingerprints to walk your hands forward and bow your forehead towards the floor. Actively press into your fingerprints, rolling your upper arms away from your ears, and then spread and ground your hands into the floor, pressing down through your finger pads and fingerprints. Take a mindful breath here to ground hands, forehead, and hips down towards the earth. Rise up onto your knees, flip your toes under, and walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Keeping your spine neutral, start to rock back and forth, hinging from your hips and extending your hips, and exploring transferring weight into the hands as you shift your weight forward. Walk your knees together and sit back onto your heels. Breathe in to sweep the arms overhead. Breathe out, bow towards the earth, crossing your palms on your sacrum. Inhale, circle the arms overhead and extend the hips. Exhale, hinge from the hips to bow down. Do this 2 more times on your own, reversing which hand is on top each time you fold down. Make your way into the tabletop position with hips stacked over knees and shoulders over wrist creases. Spread your hands and press them into the floor. Begin to round your spine, tucking your chin towards your chest, pressing your hands into the floor. And now pull back energetically on the hands to guide your spine into an arch shape, spreading your collarbones and looking forward. As you exhale, push into your hands and start to segmentally round through your spine. As you breathe in, pull back on your hands energetically to guide your spine back into the arch shape. Come back to a neutral spine. Curl your toes under and come back onto the fingerprints. Push firmly into your fingerprints and now explore a few of these spinal undulations in this new hand position. As you inhale, arch your spine, pull back energetically on your fingerprints. As you exhale, round your spine and push your fingerprints into the floor. Come back to neutral and pivot to the side of your mat. Return to tabletop position, this time with your fingerprints facing out. Press firmly into the fingerprints and the finger pads and explore shifting weight from side to side. Flip the heels of your palms forward and continue to press down through fingerprints, finger pads, and the heels of your palms. Moving through a pain-free range of motion, begin to rock back and forth, breathing into the sensations that arise. Next, come onto the backs of your hands and see if you can first straighten your elbows. Continue to ground down through the backs of your hands, and next, see if you can start to curl your fingerprints in towards your palms to make chimpanzee hands. Okay. Re-extend your fingers towards the floor, and now explore turning the eyes of the elbow creases in and out. Next, make a fist with your hands closing the thumbs in. Firmly press your knuckles into the floor. Rock forward to close the top of the fist towards the floor. Rock back to close the bottom of the fist towards the floor. As you rock forward, try to keep the elbow straight. As you rock back, try to minimize the elbow bend as much as you can. Sit back towards the heels, interlace your fingers, and just roll out the wrists to let all of those sensations subside. Bring your palms back to the floor. Come into a tabletop position with your knees hovering 1 inch off the floor. Pivot to the right, sitting back onto your right hip, and now sweep your feet in front of you as you flip your fingerprints back to face your spine. Try to press down into your hands and explore lifting your hips up towards the sky. Spread your hands apart energetically as you continue to press them into the sticky mat. Pivot back around into the floating tabletop position, and now pivot to the other side. Sweep your feet in front of you, walk your fingerprints back to face your spine, and roll your shoulders onto your back. Try to press up through straight arms to lift your hips up. Continue to press your hands into the floor as you lower and pull your hips back down towards the earth. Come back to the floating tabletop position, and then pivot to face the front of your mat to resume child's pose. This time, we'll flip onto the backs of the hands, bowing the head towards the earth. Imagine trying to spin the thumbnails back down towards the floor, and let this action broaden your upper back. Breathe into this space. Flip your palms around as you bow your forehead down towards the earth, and try to maintain the broadness across the upper back as you continue to root down through the hands. One last time, return to the floating tabletop position. Pull back on the hands as you firm the abdomen, and now step back into the plank pose 1 foot at a time. Tone the glutes, the quads, and the abdomen as you continue to press into the floor. Lower your knees to the earth, and now pull back on the hands energetically as you press yourself down towards the floor. Continue to pull back on the hands energetically as you lift up into the cobra back bend, and then lower all the way back down onto the earth. Curl the toes under, push yourself up to a push-up on the knees, and then press your hips all the way up and back for the downward facing dog pose. Just like we did in the child's pose, can you ground into your hands here, but continue to roll the upper arms away from the ears to broaden the upper back. You could repeat that same sequence, or for more demand on the wrist, shift your weight forward into the full plank pose. Press yourself all the way down towards the floor. Pointing your toes, pull back on the hands to lift the spine up, lower all the way back down. Press straight up into a push-up back towards downward facing dog. Broaden the upper back and take a few mindful breaths here. Return to the child's pose and bow the head towards the earth. Soften the efforts of your practice. Sit back onto your heels, and in a gesture of gratitude to your hands, bring them together at heart center and close your practice with a bow. Thank you for sharing your practice and exploring building strength in your hard-working hands.